Have you ever tried explaining your beliefs to someone with a completely different worldview? Imagine doing that in ancient Athens, the intellectual capital of the world. This is exactly what the Apostle Paul faced when he arrived in this bustling city around 50 AD. Athens was a melting pot of ideas, filled with philosophers, scholars, and curious minds. Everywhere Paul looked, he saw statues of gods and goddesses. The city was so religious that they even had an altar dedicated to an unknown god. This caught Paul's attention. One day, Paul was invited to speak at the Areopagus, also known as Mars Hill. This was where the city's intellectual elite gathered to debate new ideas. Picture Paul, a Jewish follower of Jesus, standing before a crowd of Greek thinkers. How would he connect with them? Paul began his speech with a brilliant move. He said, "Men of Athens, I see that you are very religious in all respects. For while I was passing through and examining the objects of your worship, I also found an altar with this inscription, 'To an unknown God.' Therefore, what you worship in ignorance, this I proclaim to you." Instead of condemning their beliefs, Paul used their own culture as a starting point. He quoted their poets and philosophers, showing respect for their intellectual tradition. Then, he introduced them to the God they didn't know, the creator of the universe, the source of life itself. Paul explained that this God doesn't live in man-made temples or need human service. He's not far from any of us, for in him we live and move and exist. Paul challenged their understanding of divinity, presenting a personal God who desires a relationship with humanity. He then boldly proclaimed the resurrection of Jesus, a concept that challenged Greek philosophy. Some listeners sneered, others were intrigued, and a few became believers. Among them was Dionysius, a member of the Areopagus, and a woman named Damaris. Paul's approach at Mars Hill teaches us valuable lessons. He demonstrated how to engage with different cultures respectfully while staying true to the gospel. He found common ground, used familiar references, and then presented the transformative message of Jesus. This story, found in Acts 17, reminds us that the gospel is for all people, regardless of their background or beliefs. It challenges us to be creative in our approach, to listen and understand others, and to present the timeless truth of God's love in ways that resonate with our audience. Paul's sermon at Mars Hill wasn't just a historical event. It's a model for cross-cultural communication that remains relevant today. In our diverse world, we too can find innovative ways to share our faith, bridging gaps and connecting hearts to the God who is never unknown, but always near.